U.S. military staged a massive show of force this weekend aimed largely at Washington. Dozens of Chinese warplanes and ships crossed the unofficial boundary into Taiwan Strait. China claims self-ruled Taiwan as its own and resents any foreign interference. Beijing said the weekend maneuvers were a response to Taiwan-related provisions in the U.S. defense spending bill that was passed over the weekend.
China is preparing for war, while Xi Jinping tells troops to fall in line. Taiwan and the U.S. should be prepared. Chinese leader Xi Jinping is telling the People's Liberation Army to prepare for war. Last week, Xi Jinping visited the PLA Marine base in Guangdong province, and he told the troops to devote their minds and energy to preparing for war, to maintain a state of high alert, and to remain absolutely loyal, absolutely pure, and absolutely reliable.
In military terms, an invasion would be very different because for Putin it's just a land war. In terms of the ideological and political basis for an invasion, there are incredible similarities. I do think that Beijing will be studying what's going on in Ukraine extremely closely.
祖国完全统一一定要实现，也一定能够实现。
How do you see it?
Well, I see that it's a grave threat. I think Xi Jinping means what he says, right? I think we have to be careful not to mirror image, not to fall into the same traps we did with Vladimir Putin of confirmation bias and optimism bias. Xi Jinping has made quite clear in his statements that he's going to make, from his perspective, China whole again by subsuming Taiwan. And the preparations are underway. So I think what is important is what Michelle said, deterrence, but good old-fashioned deterrence by denial. I mean, hard power matters.
Between the United States and China is about much more than trade. For everything from blockbuster films to lunar exploration, from semiconductors to submarines, in every domain, they're now rivals.
We have never had a century without great power conflict of some kind.
A superpower war would be a type of conflict we haven't seen since the Second World War, and it would be dramatically different. And China is the only country equipped to challenge the US as a superpower. It has the motivation and the means to do so, with a huge economy it can bring to bear.
Absolutely. This is a risk that should be taken very seriously.
主席好.
So what would a US-China war look like, and is conflict inevitable?
China's overseas basing ambitions really have the potential to alter the balance of power in the world through lots of on-the-ground and logistics issues. And so people really are watching very, very carefully.
Xi Jinping often tells the PLA to prepare for war, like back in May this year, and in January 2019, and in October 2018, and in August 2017. You get the picture.
The worst attack we've ever had. This is worse than Pearl Harbor. This is worse than the World Trade Center. There's never been an attack like this, and it should have never happened.
matters to all of us, whether you live here in Europe or anywhere in the world. The two most powerful countries on Earth are slipping deeper and deeper into a profound form of conflict. Some are even calling it a new Cold War. The American alliance had been crucial for Taiwan ever since, but now it was going to be sacrificed to build relations with Beijing. This would be a diplomatic bombshell, and a political one too. Just think about it. An American president dropping a long-standing capitalist ally in order to make friends with a communist enemy in the middle of the Cold War. Nixon had to prepare the ground for this incredibly carefully. It had to work.
The hope of our children that peace and harmony can be the legacy of our generation to theirs.
That what they had long believed to be a kind of unbreakable bond of socialist brotherhood between the Soviet Union and China was actually not unbreakable, and they wanted to help break it. I think the danger is greater today than it has ever been before.